we had a sale in our eBay warehouse, and we're going to tell you all about it. It was fun. It was exciting. We actually made a few bucks. So listen in and we'll tell you how the sale went. Thanks for showing up, guys, and joining us today. I am Prof Sales.
And I'm Just Ask Kaaren.
And this is the Prof Sales YouTube channel where we talk about being a reseller, being an entrepreneur, selling on e-commerce platforms like eBay, Amazon, so on, your mindset, staying positive, and lots of other good things. And we are glad you are joining us.
Yes, we are. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy New Year, I thought you were going to say. But if you are watching live, there's a live stream going right now, a chat room where you can join and ask questions and make comments, and we'll be glad to answer or talk about whatever you bring up. You can always leave a comment afterwards, and we do our best to respond to all of them. What else can they do if they enjoy the content, Kaaren?
They can like it.
We're like, this is a weird time for us. We normally go on about 30 minutes later. So we have a possible meeting with another reseller.
That's just passing through town.
That's passing through town. So we're trying to make the time work. And then you have a meeting to go to as well. So we have to go a little bit earlier.
Right. Rugby happens.
It does. It does. So thank you guys for showing up today. And we're going to talk about show us the money. Brian already says in the chat. That's great.
I'd like to see it myself, Brian. Thanks for asking.
I actually made nothing. But so I did, but honestly, I didn't really have much to sell. I think I only had maybe 3, 4, 5 items. But just to recap what Saturday is we are in the process of cleaning out and preparing a warehouse for our eBay business, as well as maybe some other companion businesses. And we're still sort of figuring that part out, but definitely to make space to run and scale a bigger eBay business out of this warehouse. But to do that, we got to get rid of some stuff first, right?
We do. And what's interesting is we really didn't sit down and recap Saturday ourselves. So a lot of this is going to be just sort of live and in the moment for you guys too. So that should be interesting.
We can just quit looking at the camera and talk to each other. But so we had wanted to have a live stream during this sale we had. We put an ad on the local yard sale apps and so on saying, hey, we're going to have this warehouse sale. We posted a bunch of photos. We got some contacts before the sale from people wanting to know about certain items. And then people showed up. We only ran the sale for 4 hours on Saturday morning. And it's January. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's January. It's cold. It wasn't super cold Saturday morning, but it was still cold. It was like in the 40s, so not exactly warm. So we actually started at 9 and we ended pretty much right at 1 o'clock, I think.
We did.
Right. And we had, I don't know how many items we had for sale. That would be tough to say, but
a lot.
I would say conservatively, yeah, it was a few hundred. If you kind of added it all up, maybe 200, 300. But a lot of them were smalls and things that were just, pickups that people would have gotten in the moment, not necessarily things you're going to advertise. We had some big items, quite a few big items, actually, that we had for sale, some of which sold, several of which sold.
Right. And it was funny because the ATV did sell. And no matter what I say during this show today, I am happy that happened. And actually, after that sale occurred, I actually said this out loud. I said, you know what? If we don't sell another thing today, let's be grateful that thing went on its way.
Yes. And, this is interesting because I have never actually ran a warehouse sale before. And it was a different dynamic. I don't know how many of you guys watching the chat or writing the chat right now or watching later, how many of you ever had ran a sale that was indoors? I don't even mean just in your garage. I mean, like inside a building. It's a different animal. I mean, because yard sales typically, a lot of times yard sales come in a couple of different flavors. One, there'll be a community sale where there's a lot of people having it. So you get a lot of foot traffic because people see, oh, there's this community is having a sale or this community, and people drive through and you get a lot of people kind of wandering through your sale. Or there's a variation where, a couple families get together, maybe 3, and say, hey, let's, pile our junk out in the driveway for a few hours, Saturday morning, Friday, Sunday, whatever, and see what we can sell, right? But we have never actually been part of a sale that was indoors. And it was different because it's a warehouse. It's a brick building that doesn't look like a retail space at all, because it's not. So it presents sort of a different set of challenges and a different approach, I think, now that I've had a little time to reflect on it. But we probably only had, how many people do you think we had come to the sale total, Kaaren?
10.
10 like different groups, or 10 different people? Yeah, we literally only had probably, like Kaaren said, 10 people come in. And most of those, I mean, they were sporadic, but there was somebody there most of the time, because people looked for a while. It was interesting. Like, I feel like people at a yard sale like this, or a warehouse sale, they looked a lot longer than they would at a yard sale. Did you get that same impression?
Yeah, and 3 of those 10 were people that just came to say hi, that were friends of ours.
Yeah, I mean, they did look through everything, and we tried our best to give them a donut. And they may have taken a donut. There were no free hot dogs.
No, but there were lots of donuts. There were cookies. There was water. Lots of refreshments for sure. Not a lot of refreshment eaters.
And Red Eckerson, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm sorry I didn't mention a moment ago. I got distracted by squirrels. Great friend of the show, and always good to see you in, my friend. But we had just a smattering of people. I mean, 10 people, literally. And on the face of it, Kaaren, you might say that seemed like underwhelming.
That was my reaction.
Kaaren was expecting 200 people to come through the door and walk in. But, I think there's reasons why they didn't. Like, how many people do you think, let's say you ran a yard sale by yourself, just you, and you put stuff out in your driveway, and you're out there for maybe 4 hours. How many people could you realistically expect? And no one else in your neighborhood was doing it. How many people could you realistically expect? 30? You just made that up, didn't you? Yep. You just pulled that number out of thin air.
I did. Well, there's some things that we already started to address why people didn't show up. And I think that it was partly on us. One, we didn't put up signs. And
well, we couldn't.
Well, we could have put them up somewhere. Like, we couldn't have put them up in the district, but why couldn't we have put them up on a corner? Like, somebody said, it was hard to find. Why didn't you put up signs? So maybe we could have put up a sign like warehouse sale and put the address on it or something. We also realized not early enough that the Craigslist ad didn't have the address on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big deal, because when we have looked on Craigslist to buy things before, and it just dawned on me yesterday, like, whenever we see an ad and it doesn't have an address, we don't even pursue it. It's like, where is this? And it's immediately discarded for us. So I think we were at a disadvantage that people had to guess where we were. And the only other place that it came up was on the Garage Sailor app. And I don't know, like you said, it's January. I don't know how many people are looking for garage sales in January.
Yeah, little tip here, guys. So Gesalr, GSALR, is a garage sale app, and it actually connects to, I think, 3 or 4 other apps, like garage sale type finding apps. And it's great. Nothing wrong with it. So I posted an ad on there for the sale. It had the correct address. It had the address in the body of the ad, as well as the map, which showed you, where the sale was, and it was fine. But on Craigslist, for some reason, that address just showed up as like see location in the ad. Then you had to touch that, and then it showed as just sort of a location bubble in the area where we were, but it didn't give a street name. I'm not really sure why it did that, because I'm pretty darn certain I put that info in there, but it did not. So, that's on me. I didn't realize it till we've been going for probably a couple hours. So that probably depressed turnout potentially. That's kind of like, selling a pair of Levi's and forgetting to put the word Levi's in the title. You're not going to have it on eBay. You're not going to have as many people find the pair, right? They just happen to stumble across it. But live and learn. And, we actually converted, I thought, a high number of the people who came.
Here comes the math. yes, most people that came did buy something. That's his point. Our conversion rate of visitors to purchasers was high, comparatively speaking.
Yes. And I was telling Kaaren this today, and I don't know if she even realized it till I told her. I said, I had probably a dozen people message me about the ATV, probably somewhere around there. And they message different things like, what's the price and what does it have? Is it automatic, manual? You know, all these different things, right? So I had one person who messaged me about it and asked the price and asked a couple things. And they said, so you guys are going to have this during the sale Saturday. I'm like, yep. And it starts at 9. Yep. And he's like, I will be there when you open. Well, sure enough, he sends me another message around 8:15 or so saying, I'm on the way. And I'm like, great, but who knows, right? You never know. That guy, and I think it was his son was with him.
Yeah.
I think it was his son. Mm-hmm. They did show up at 9 o'clock when the sale started, and they came in. They looked over the ATV for probably a good 10 minutes, you know, seeing what worked, what didn't work, what they could do with it. And they bought it. So they bought it. And the cool thing is that no one else who messaged me, nor anyone who actually came to the sale, looked at the ATV. No one, not one single. So we literally had one person come, one person look at it, and they bought it. That's a great conversion. Like, I'll take that every day. Like, if you had one view on every listing on eBay and that one person bought it, you'd be like, yes, you know, great. No problem. But so, you know, that was pretty cool. We also sold, we'll get in there and take some pictures this week, but we also sold some of the bigger items that we had. We sold the bed that was sort of in the way, not in the way, but it was just right there in the middle area. We sold the file cabinets.
Big furniture.
The chair and the ottoman.
Oh, yeah.
The little nightstand, the other nightstand, the drawer thing that went with the bedroom suit. The patio table and chair set we had out there. It was like big items. And a couple people came that one guy he runs a consignment store and he will fix things up. Another guy did a similar type thing. Or he worked at an auction site. An auction.
Yeah. What was interesting is I think everybody was a reseller of some sort. There was the auction guy, the bulk guy, the reseller with the 2 kids. And he wasn't even part of our local reseller meetup group, right? I got his info and I'll ninja him later and say, hey, you know, you should check this out. Then the first couple that came, they were resellers. They had the consignment store. They came from about an hour away. Just because they saw some of the furniture and they ended up taking that to redo it and put it in their store. Yeah. And then there was somebody else, but everybody, I don't think anybody there was there for personal reasons. There were the 2 fellas that came that were looking, I think, for the collectible stuff. Yeah, but it was interesting because it's a completely different animal. It was nothing like a yard sale at all. Really.
Yeah. We sold probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 to 25 items, maybe somewhere around there, counting everything, which wasn't a lot, but they were bigger items that went for more money, which was interesting. Like some of Ben's collectibles and so on. I think he did sell a couple of them.
Yeah, Ben made $10.
Ben made $10. You know, he made $10 and got donuts.
And I gave him another $10 because he was such a great help.
Yeah, that's true. So he made $20. So whatever. He made like $5 an hour.
I made negative $23 because I bought donuts and water. So there's that.
That's not really true. But
it kind of is.
Okay, I made nothing. I could have been home listing items, selling items. I was the banker, and I hoped like, yeah, I'm gonna get some bank fees. But anyway.
You got cookies.
I did get cookies. There were cookies. So we sold maybe 25, 30 items. All told, I think what was our gross?
$775.
Yeah.
$760 actually.
Yeah.
Let Jason tell that story.
So as many of you know, if you watched the show Friday, we had this app that tracks, like you can put in, if different people are selling at a yard sale, you can put in the different people's names, and when something sells, you can sort of assign it to them and how much it sold for. So I go through and I do all this. I get to the end and it says we should have $775. And I count it all up and we have 760. And I'm looking back through and nothing's exactly $15. There were some $10 and $5 items that maybe could have gotten calculated in and weren't supposed to, or we'd sing get the money for, which I don't think it was that, because I was really adamant about what the money was compared to what was there. But I don't really understand why I did that. Honestly, I still have no idea. So there's $15 missing. There's a thief among us.
We spent 10 minutes on this missing $15. Not a fan of this app.
It's true.
An app is only as good as the operator belt.
Hey.
I'm just saying, we could have written it down on a piece of paper. Maybe it would have come out differently. Maybe it wouldn't. So
yeah, because writing it down, you never make mistakes.
Because it finally got resolved where I just said, you know what? I'll eat it. Let's move forward. So as long as my kid got paid and the other people got paid, we were good with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the moral of the story is don't make Kaaren buy the cookies and donuts because she'll get salty about it. She doesn't. See what I did there? I don't know what happened. Honestly, it still frustrates me because my days in retail management, I was never off in my drawer. Like if I had to run a register or something, it didn't happen. But anyway, something happened. I have some suspicions, but I don't know for certain.
We are never, this is one thing for certain. We're never going to talk about this 15. We weren't even supposed to talk about it today.
Oh, we were talking, you brought it up.
But I get that we have to recap and we have to be honest. And what's interesting is, to me, you know, we openly and honestly share our triumphs as well as our failures with you. And this is, you know, this is not necessarily one of our triumphs. In totality, we are triumphant in that we got started. You're happy that we created space. We have some momentum. We're moving forward. On the day, I was not so happy and can see myriad ways we can do it differently and betterly in the future.
Ninja says different pocket for everyone's separate cash going forward then. See, that wouldn't have worked, Ninja. Well, why wouldn't that have worked, Kaaren?
Well, because we had one bank. And so how do you keep track of where you give change? Like if it was exact change all the time.
What's the real reason it wouldn't have worked?
I don't know. What's the real reason?
Let's just say that some people were on the clock all 4 hours during the sale, there with the customers, dedicated to selling items and getting them gone.
Here we go.
There were some other people who may or may not have drifted out of the selling area and wouldn't even have known if like somebody would back the truck up and loaded it all the way and taken it. But anyway,
so everybody had a designated job, right?
Whoa, that was your job.
I was at the front door because the way you have to steer people. We put signs and the agreement was we would do shifts and one of us would sit at the front, steer people back. It wasn't my fault that everybody wanted to come up to the front and talk to me.
You could have walked back to the back.
And I did on occasion. This is the thing.
On occasion.
I don't like the wheeling and dealing part, right? I just don't. And sure enough, the first person that got there, well, because our ad said, all price is negotiable. So that says pretty much to me, come in, offer us a lower price. We'll drop our pants.
But we didn't list any prices.
Whatever it said. So sure enough, the first people that come here, and God love them, I get it. They're making their business. They're doing whatever.
Yeah.
But the first people that show up are offering $1 on 10, right? And
that's not true.
It was pretty close.
No, they were fine.
So
they just wanted a deal. It's a yard sale, warehouse sale.
And you thrive in that atmosphere.
I do.
Me,
I do.
Not so much. So I was content to be the welcoming committee. Sally Sunshine, best place for me, really. Because if you offer me $1 for my $20 wajism thing, I'm going to look at you like, are you kidding me? So nobody
lowballed like that. They really didn't. They didn't. You weren't even in there. How would you know?
So you missed the guy that came out and gave us a lecturing in how to barter. Like you missed the whole thing.
Oh, he should have came and talked to me. I would have lectured him right back.
So he comes right out and he offers her like $1 for some piece of furniture that they use in the office or something. And she's like, no. And so then she got this talking to about what it means to, and I'm like, really?
Did you give him a talking to about what it means to leave?
No, we just kind of thanked him and said, have a nice day.
Yeah, it's interesting how people, even at a warehouse sale, when they're coming to the sale can still feel like they're entitled to your items. So, which is ridiculous. You know, it's like you go in and you try to make a deal. And if you can't make a deal that makes sense, whether you're buying it for your personal use or to resell it and put some elbow grease into it, no big deal. I mean, you walk away. I mean, you don't want to lose money on something you buy because you pay too much for it. And we want to sell it at a reasonable price. We want to get rid of it, but we want to sell it at a reasonable price. I mean, we don't want to let's give it away. That's why we're selling it. So I don't know.
So what did we learn? You don't like to be alone with people.
That's not true.
We should put up signs and advertise more. Apps are okay as long as you use them the correct way.
Apparently, I don't know how to use that app or something.
And actually, we did learn some things. Moving forward, we're not gonna be able to have a sale every week. Like that's kind of a big deal. We're wanting to get that space cleaned up and out in a relatively decent amount of time. And at this rate, it's going to take us forever. Like if all we did was have a sale every weekend, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It would take too long.
Well, we did get rid of some big things.
Right, which is good.
I estimated, I'm just an estimate, but I estimated we probably cleared about 80 to 100 square feet of space from what was taking up floor space, which is not nothing. And it may even be a little more than that. So that was good. That was good. But we are going to have to move some items in bulk, make some decisions on about maybe even donating or getting rid of items. You know, it's just one of those things where when you've got a lot of items in a space and you need the space to put more profitable items in it, like in this case, you got to get rid of the items. Like you can't, you're right. I mean, you can't wait for somebody to buy them. You could be waiting 6 months or a year or longer before somebody shows up to buy that one thing that's taken up a cubic foot of space. You're just gonna have to get rid of it. You're gonna have to get rid of it, even donating it back and take a tax write-off.
Well, and we talked about it in previous times, like what's our end game? What's our plan for it? And we're gonna have to make decisions. Like I'm not, you know, we're just not going to be able to sit on it and wait for, you know, the sun to shine or whatever. So some of it's going to have to go. Some of it's going to have to be donated. One of the things we're going to do that I think the most proactive thing and probably positive thing that we can do moving forward is to place individual ads for some of this stuff on Craigslist, because we're going to be at the warehouse. And mind you, the warehouse is about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending upon time of day from our home. So if we're going to be there anyway, the thought is let's place an ad, let's bundle the books, let's bundle the CDs, DVDs, the Christmas stuff even. Like I could put all of the Santa stuff in one pile for $100, throw it up at the ceiling and see if it sticks. You know, we're going to be there anyway. So it's easy for us to meet with people.
Yeah.
For them to come see it. So that we've already talked about. And Alex, thank you. I actually bought something, but it's in my pocket in the other room. So on Wednesday, I have something piratey that I got special for the show, but I can't wear it today. But thank you. So Alex said something really kind that it sounds like something I would say. And I can't read it now because one of my glasses, but it's basically to be kinder to ourselves, that it's all a learning process. And thank you, because as much as we try to say these things to other people, it is important for us to hear it too, because I probably am being a little, I don't know, I probably am being a little hard on us, on him, on the process, on the event, just because my expectations, it's not funny. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
My expectations are always higher. And I don't want to say higher than they should be. But I'm the overly optimistic one. And I really thought like the fact that
sale was making you angry.
Yes, that's a whole another long story. This salad is making me angry. So there should have been more people there. And I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm trying to figure out why.
Right.
But my background, especially with JCs in particular, and I have a couple of friends here that have been JCs in their past, we have this planning process, and it leads you up to the day of the event. It includes your primary purpose, what you're going to spend, what tasks and and things are you going to do to get there. But the most important thing of the project planning is concerned is what happens afterward. You assess the goals that you made, you assess the plans and the steps that you took to get there, and then you make recommendations on how to make it better. Been in that mode the entire time. I was there before, during, and now certainly after. So, you know, we can only, you know, as long as it's different, I don't feel as though we crossed all of our T's and dotted all of our I's. And I think it's because we're a little, what's the word? Is complacent the word? Like, you know, when you do something over and over again and it just becomes second nature, maybe you're not as attentive to detail. Like, because we're sellers or resellers and because we've had yard sales before, maybe we didn't do everything that we should have or could have.
Right.
And that's my takeaway. And I don't like feeling that way. So the next time we do something like this, we'll have a list and I'll check it twice and then we'll see if I feel the same way afterward. But it's just hard for me right now because I just don't feel like we did everything that we could have. Not that we had, and this is going to sound interesting, but not that we had to, because it was our first effort. So I'm very conflicted because I feel that way, but then I also am willing to admit that the big thing, and I do mean it, like the fact that that darn four-wheeler is out of there is a huge, huge victory on so many levels.
Not something easy to move.
No, it's not easy to move. And if we worked on it there, you know, thank heaven, it was in really, really good shape. And the people that came to look at it were very knowledgeable on engines, and they could tell just by looking at it that it's just going to need X, Y, and Z, and it's ready to go, right? So anyway, all that. Thanks for your support, everyone. Because
Adam says maybe you could promote with the rugby club and donate a portion of the proceeds.
Yeah, well, I'm already giving rugby blood, sweat, and tears as it is.
That's true. You are a rugby mom.
But that's a great idea. Actually, we're trying to figure out a way with things like this that come up, Adam, to give those boys community service hours, you know, helping with something or another. So we'll see.
Yeah. Sam asked, did you put out cardboard signs as if it were low-key art? The problem is it's a commercial area, and I'm not 100% sure we can do that. And we don't want to cause any problems with the landlord or anything like that. So we need to find out. I don't know if that's a big deal. Like if it's a one-off every once in a while, they probably wouldn't care. But actually where it's located, Sam, that street does not get a lot of traffic because it's a commercial space, right? It's in a commercial business park sort of area. So on the weekend, there's not going to be a lot of people, and the road that it's off of is not really a cut through road or much. It's not heavily trafficked. It actually dead ends at one end and the other end goes to sort of a secondary road. So I don't know that a sign would have made that much difference out in front. I mean, it's possible, but I kind of question it would literally, I just don't think there would have been a lot of people driving by there for those 4 hours. I bet it would be less than 100. And the chance that anyone would come there and want to go to a yard sale is probably even, you know, pretty small, but we definitely can check that out for the next time and see if it's a possibility.
Well, and one of the good things that we learned is that our warehouse mates, our neighbors, most of them aren't there on Saturday. There was one fella that was across the way that was getting some stock, but so parking was not an issue. We were a little worried that parking might be an issue, but it was not. And people came in with trailers, and, you know, a couple of them, you know, came, like, I loved that part. Like the people that did come came prepared to buy stuff. They had a truck, a couple of people had trailers, and it was like boop, boop. And that, the last fella that does we'll have to go check out his auctions and things. He's in South Carolina, but he was probably the funnest one because he bought the most thingies, right? But he was fun to talk to and to interact with. And we joked about his trailer because he had bungees to attach. Like he was a pro. Yeah. That was pretty impressive.
Jennifer says, hey, Jennifer, how are you? Jennifer Leland, maybe start a Facebook page or group for your space. Post things you can use that page, have a sale, and you can give them previews of the sale. That's actually a good idea. And we were talking about today if there's a way we can manage part of the space to sort of have an ongoing sale for something. It's tricky because there are things that probably make more sense locally and are still worth selling and aren't worth just donating and getting rid of, but aren't really worth selling on eBay or Amazon. So you have all these different classes of items. Like you got stuff you would sell online, you got stuff you would sell locally, stuff you would sell, in a yard sale, stuff you would just give away. So we may be able to create a space to do that.
I like the idea about a separate Facebook. We didn't really use Facebook at all, Jennifer, and I think that it was underutilized. Like we actually could have promoted and paid for an ad, maybe that sent it out locally. I don't know. We could have used, I think we could have used Facebook a little better, a little differently.
Well, we did use it for the ATV.
We did?
Yep.
For Facebook? Cool.
Yep, Facebook Market. I put it on there.
Is that where
that is where the person who bought it came from.
Oh, nice. And
it did work.
And the ATV actually, I can't go into detail about it, but it was a really happy ending for the family that got it. Like it's going to fill a space for somebody that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And all right, so here's the thing. So this is a little bit like with some feels, and I know you don't like to talk about the feels, but one of the things I'm going to admit that's frustrating for me about the sale and what didn't sell is that the things that I put out into the universe that were personal, like they were stored, right? And it's stuff from a previous life, if you will. And so it took time, years, for me to go through some of that stuff. And I felt like I did. And now I got to keep going through it.
Yeah.
So
it does suck. I know.
There. I said it.
But that's okay. I mean, because we can move them, in one way or another, we can move. Even if it comes to the point where we say, instead of rehashing these items over and over and over and looking at them repeatedly, maybe at some point we just make a decision, because it'll just make the best sense. But we can talk about that. But I didn't know you felt that way about some of it. So, I mean, some of this we are literally talking about right now for the first time 48 hours later.
Well, I mean, things are stupid. Like we attach all this emotional stuff. And just because I kept this Santa Claus, and it's actually bigger than that, but I'll just use like a random Santa Claus as an example, just because somebody else cherished it or it was in my family for years or whatever. Like in my case, this was a whole lifetime, a whole life, a whole everything ago.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that took me a long time to go through, and now I have, and it's.
Yeah, it's. See, I guess I'm lucky, and I'm also cursed at the same time that I have no attachment to a thing like that. Like it has a value to me in the moment, and then once the moment's gone, it has no more value to me, and I'm done with it. I can, get rid of that item and move on from it. But I understand, like, that the attachment to it brings up certain memories and so on in certain cases. And that's tricky because we've been to yard sales where you and I have been to yard sales where we've asked about an item somebody had, and they'll start telling you this story about it. Yeah. And you get to the end of the story and it's like, I feel guilty buying this now at this point. Like, I don't even want to buy this because this means so much to you. You need to just keep it, instead of trying to sell it out here, because if I sell it, I'm going to feel like I took something that was super meaningful to you. And I don't want to feel like that. It's not really about the money and what I can sell it for on the back end. And, so we've run into that a couple times where, and sometimes people have those things priced high, but other times they just, I don't know. It's like they know they should get rid of it, but they don't really want to get rid of it. So it's this weird sort of in between that they're doing. But people are making lots of great suggestions here. So, flea market booth, pay Ben hourly to man it, just to get rid of the smalls and non-eBay stuff.
Aaron, I could never do a flea.
That was Alex, actually. Or
no.
Oh, he's agreeing. No, the flea market was originally Alex. Oh, I'm sorry. It was
all right.
Alex.
So whoever says flea market, I can't. Yeah, he can do it. I can't do the flea market because it's a constant barrage of, would you take $1? Would you take $1? Would you take $1? And I'd be like, here, just take it for free if you'll leave me alone.
Yes.
Really.
You can have it for $1 if I get to punch you in the stomach. No, that's bad.
No. There goes the warning.
Here comes the copyright strike. He's advocating violence on the internet. So what other questions we got here? You guys got some great great suggestions too, by the way.
So, and I am Thrift. I'm not sure if that's one of our local friends or not, but there was a suggestion. I can't read it. You have to read it later. But you made a suggestion earlier about, you know, putting something in the Observer, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I think that we will do that. We'll definitely sort of advertise, promote as much as possible. What is it?
The Seam Store said, I try to keep the pirate mindset, quote, scrape your hull. You can move a lot faster once you get rid of all those barnacles.
Oh, I like that.
I like it.
See, and I can relate to that. So there you go.
Let's go over there and get rid of some barnacles. I'll bring the matches and gasoline.
And that was Wes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Wes,
I'm like violent today. What is going on with me?
You're absolutely right. Once that stuff goes, and I stand by it, you know, the space is the most important thing. And we just have to get through some of this stuff. You know, we made the decision that Ben's cards, you know, he was able to take out some of them, but the other ones he's just going to have to slog through and make the money on. This other stuff, you know, whether we end up in some mobile nomadic life or not, I can't take 100 Santa Clauses with me. Come to find out, they're just not going to fit in the RV. So they have to go. And I get that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I told Kaaren, you know, and this is getting more in here's the personal conversations we have. I told her, I said, you know, I understand that these things have a lot of sentimental value to you. They represent a lot of memories. They represent a lot of experiences in your life and different times, you know, and situations you were in. And that's why you're connected to them. But if we can sell some of these things and use the space for the things we get rid of to sell other things, we can use that money and that time and energy to create our own memories, our own connections, our own new experiences, our own set of, you know, special moments. And that's how I look at that stuff. I'm like, it's a means to that end, nothing else. And I get, you know, the connection to the past, but hey, the future is still unwritten. It's right there in front of us. So let's prepare for it. In the best way we can. So that's how I proposed it to you. And you like that.
I did.
I'm going to keep reminding you of that.
Well, and you should, because I'm stuck in the past. So there you go.
Nah, it's all right.
So I am Thrift and 3 kids' closets. Is that right? Yeah. So your names aren't on there, but if you're not already in our reseller meetup group, you should look us up because we get together often. Carolina Reseller Meetups on Facebook.
We got one come up in March in Durham. We get our hotel.
Yeah, we have to get our hotel. We have to get that sorted out, don't we?
Alex said, one of the things I have to tell myself, getting rid of the things does not mean I'm getting rid of the person. That's true.
Oh, Alex, that's good.
That's true. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Not at all. Things are just things. They only have value because we assign them value, but people are different.
Well, I'm not jettisoning any people per se yet.
Right. But I think when you're talking about sentimental things, it can feel that way. On some level, it can feel like you're getting rid of a person or part of a person because that thing connects you to them. But no, I agree. It's not people though. They're not the same. They're just things. Let's see. The flea markets here are rough. Yeah, we don't know much about the flea markets here. We really haven't had any experience with them. We haven't tried that one place near us.
The one in Pineville?
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't been to that one in a long time. But we did actually find out about some, it's so funny. One of the things we talked about a while ago in business is reassessing yourself every now and then. And part of that is looking up thrifts in your area, which is something we're really not good at, to sort of update our local thrift list.
So you change from time to time.
And these aren't new to our area, but we learned about 2 new local places to thrift that we had never been to. And we're planning on going to. Actually, one of them is and I don't have my coffee mug today, but one of them, my friend Don suggested, he volunteers there, but they're going to have a day for us where we come with our meetup, with our folks, with our meetup group.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all going to go there together, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So
that'll be fun. So yeah, we definitely got some cool stuff planned for that. And you always got to be expanding out your universe of sourcing and areas around. I mean, there's so many things. When you live in an area the size of Charlotte, which is not even close to the biggest city, but it's a bigger city, there's so many opportunities you never even know about. I mean, there is so much commercial in this area, and within like a 20-mile radius, it's not even funny. So I'm sure there's tons of places that we just don't know anything about, and would be great to go by once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the worst about it. I get in a rut. I go to the same places and so on,
Mm-hmm.
but it is what it is. What else was it? I had something else I was going to mention. Now I can't remember it. Gosh, I hate it when that happens. I really need to write stuff down.
Did it have to do with what you were working on earlier, maybe? Mm-hmm.
What was I working on earlier?
I don't know, listing. Oh, I sold something else.
Oh, so that's what it was. What were you selling?
Talk about
yes. What are you up to
what's
now?
it like sell through? So I have the highest sell through of all y'all at this point. No.
Still pretty good.
But so before we were at the warehouse every single day, I listed what, 8 things? And then I put in a bunch of drafts and then got pulled away to like literally warehouse. But on my 8 things that I listed, and this was a week ago,
yeah.
right? I've already sold 3 of them.
Right.
Right. And they're all $50 or higher.
Yeah.
Right?
She's had great ASP.
Yeah. My ASP has been great. My STR has been great. My ROI has been great. So sell-through rate
has been
my
high.
VOT. Yeah. Well, except for Saturday brought my value of time way down.
But you got a donut.
I don't eat donuts, but
true. True.
So yeah, so I got another, and what's cool is with my little store, we've been listing, Jason's been listing on the bigger store, but then mine, you know, we want to use as a backup, and kind of that's going to be the catch-all for the hard goods and just odd things. But I purposefully am experimenting with all the thingies. Like I did an auction, which you typically don't do. Everything's on buy it now or make us an offer. And all 3 of the things that sold, you know, this is just food for thought. All 3 of the things that sold were make me an offer, and I took it.
Yep.
And I got, I don't know if lucky is the word, but all of them were reasonable. And I had no reason to, I didn't even go like, I'm easy. I didn't even like go back and counter. I just, when I got it, I was so excited to get the cha-ching. I was like, okay.
She's like, should I bargain on this one? I was like, I don't know. Probably not. It's, you know, sometimes you're not dealing with that big a difference between the 2. So yeah, you're doing amazing.
I think
Imagine what happens when you list another 8. You're going to sell another 3.
No, I'm not going to list anything ever again.
She's done. She's going to stay right there.
I'm done.
Once these 8 are sold, it's over. No, I don't know. That's not. We have plenty of other things to list, but I've been listing some shoes lately. We're planning on getting I'm planning on getting some sort of light box to photograph shoes in. One of those that, you know, allows you to bounce the light around to every single side. We have one, but I don't think it's quite going to work for what we need it to do. So I'm definitely going to be looking to get one of those. I've been shopping those a little bit. I don't want to spend a gazillion dollars. Some of them are really pricey. Like I saw one for $200. I'm going, oh. But, you know, a box where you can shoot, you know, obviously down from the top, you can shoot in from the side. You can have, you know, those nice LED lights that bounce it around to all the reflective surfaces. So you get this nice, even look to your item once you get it right. So we're definitely in the market for that, because I definitely want to get some more of these shoes up, and then we can start pushing for some new shoes too.
Right. Because the box that we have is what, 24, it's a 24-inch cube maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not really,
and it's more for like tchotchke, like
might only be 18
collectible
actually.
stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
Some boots wouldn't really fit in there. You couldn't. There's no way you'd fit them in there. They're 18 inches high, pretty much. We also, just a quick sale note: Cult of Individuality jeans sold yesterday, or maybe the day before. So if any of you guys saw me on Instagram, you saw that was a Plato's Closet pickup for 15. Sold them for 45 plus $6.99 shipping. So a good flip, nice profit on that one, nice average selling price. And so I will definitely be dabbling this year in more higher end, higher price, sometimes jeans, as well as shoes, to try to push up that average selling price and the actual amount of dollars we get. So, you know, sometimes your percentage you make goes down, but the actual number of dollars goes up, which is always good. So Cult of Individuality jeans, if you guys see those out there, Japanese raw selvage. You're not going to find a lot of them probably, but definitely a good flip. I probably could have held out for a little bit more, honestly, than 45, but I was fine with it. I took a best offer. I think I had them originally at 60. But I was happy with them. They had a lot of wear on them, which I took a lot of photos of. So hopefully they don't come back. And they say, oh, this was more than I thought. I'm like, the photos are right there. I don't know what you didn't see, but okay.
Well, and we're going to get better about purging the inventory. We're not going to hold on to things as long anymore, and we're going to start bulk lotting them together. So you talked about how, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it was nice little flip. So just some interesting sales as of late. I know a lot of people out there are struggling with their sales, and it's January, so it's a weird time of year, especially for eBay. People don't have any money. This is about the point of the year where they started getting the credit card bills in the last 7 days. The credit card bills from Christmas, and they're like, I'm not spending any money. I'm broke. So it's kind of expected to see a lull right here. So just keep that in mind. Always be refreshing your stores, changing pricing, adding things, doing things to sort of keep you pushed up in search, all those good things, all the normal tips. Do you have best offer on all your jeans and shoes? There's a few that I don't, Ninja. And once I reach a certain point, I usually just kill the best offer. If it's listed at like 20 bucks, I'm usually going to kill the best offer because a lot of times it'll be on sale anyway. So it's going to be like 18 or even 16. What offer am I really going to take, at that point? So some of those I try to get rid of the best offer on and just move on and throw them up good to cancel for a certain price and just forget about them. Set it and forget it.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching today. We'd like to point you down to the description of this video. There's a lot of helpful links. Sorry, I don't have the banner, the lower third, but the Google Hangouts toolbox is having a problem installing for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but check out the description for all kinds of helpful links. I just added a bunch of stuff that we use to our Amazon Associates account on Amazon. For those you don't know, it's a great way. I'm just going to say it like this. It's a cool way to help out content creators on YouTube, because if you go to an Associates link and you click on that link and you buy something, the person who sent you there gets a little commission. And then even if you go buy something else on the platform, they get a little commission from that too. It doesn't cost you anything extra.
Nope.
It's the same price as you would pay normally. It's just Amazon's way of supporting people who will help advertise items on Amazon. But I just added about 12 or 14 items to it that we use that I realized we're not on there. So check out that Associates link. It's down there in the description below. So it's pretty cool, and see if there's anything on there that maybe you like. Affiliate link. Yep, that's exactly what it is. So, and what else should they do, Kaaren?
Subscribe, make a comment, make a question, but definitely like it.
That's a lot of stuff.
I know it's a lot of stuff. And sorry we have to run, but life happens today, as it often does. So glad you were here as always. This is Just Ask Kaaren.
And this is Prof Sales
saying good sales to you.